Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
For the next couple of hours, join us as we explore the imagination, the intuition, the inner realm, the inner world, winding our way into our discovery of the fifth dimension. What it is, what it means, how it looks, how it feels. Discovering new, broader perspectives of life as humans on the earthly plane. A journey within, a journey into a new, yet ancient frontier. A journey into the heart. A journey of our lifetimes. So please allow reason to coexist with your intuition, with inspiration, with your imagination, and join me in the discovery of more and more of ourselves. I promise you a journey unlike any other. Let us together explore the mystical, the amazing, the magnificent world of heart-based living in the fifth dimension. Welcome to the Consciousness Evolution Hour with your host, Philip Mollica. And a fine good evening to you tonight. This is Philip Mollica. This is the Consciousness Evolution Hour on the ENlightenment Evolution Network. Very proud to be broadcasting to you tonight. Our special guest tonight is Ruth Elan. Ruth is an open psychic channel, open physical channel and psychic writer and author. Ruth channels messages from a gestalt named Jen, Seth, and others. And Ruth is currently rendering a book on beliefs and constructs. And we're very excited to have Ruth on with us tonight. We'll bring her on shortly. And Ruth also hosts the Psychic Broadband Blog that you can find at the website psychicbroadband.wordpress.com. So we're going to run some announcements here very quickly, and we've got some very exciting news this week. Sneak peek is we have new shows coming on that we're going to be announcing tonight, and we're very excited for this expansion of the Enlightenment Evolution Network. And so, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we're officially running our Internet radio network. I now introduce you all to the Enlightenment Evolution Network, a network for all metaphysical. We have the greatest team ever assembled, ever, for the Enlightenment Evolution Network. Most of you are aware of the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, which is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but now we're going to have a show from a different host each evening. Mondays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, we have Daniel Scranton hosting Heart to Heart Talk Radio with Daniel Scranton. Join Daniel Scranton and his featured guests as they discuss such topics as the shift, ETs, global events, channeling, energy work, toning, and sound healing, manifestation, and all things metaphysical. Each show will open the phone lines to callers, generating high-frequency discussions on anything and everything related to living on planet Earth and beyond. You can find out everything about Daniel at his website, danielscranton.com. He's a channel Reiki master and sound healer, lives in Ojai, California with his beautiful wife, Lana. And Daniel has been working with a group of beings known as the Creators since the fall of 2010. He also channels the Hathors, Ophelia, the fairy, and his latest is Archangel Michael. And I do know he's got an open Q&A that he's going to be hosting soon with Archangel Michael. You can find that information on his website. He's also hosting a local get-together in Ojai, California, where he'll be channeling. And in November, he's going to be teaching classes on a Mexican cruise. So all of that information is available on Daniel's website, danielscranton.com. We're very pleased to have Daniel continue to have his wonderful shows on the network here. On Tuesdays, starting the 2nd this month, radio, inspiration, expression, abundance, soulfulpreneur. Let me say that again. Soulfulpreneur. This is Tuesdays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Spiritual business specialists Rachel Archelaus and Megan Crandallmeyer will bring you inspiring conversations with people who are living their soul purpose. Frequent guests will include psychic mediums, channelers, coaches, artists, and authors. We end every show with psychic readings and business coaching. We welcome your questions about your spiritual business or life purpose journey. Then on Wednesday, well, that's one of the new shows, folks. We're very excited to have Rachel and Megan join us. Wednesdays, of course, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. The King, me, myself, and I, he, himself, and he, Rob Goth here, creator of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, hosts the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. Every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of each month, Rob will be channeling Treb, who will take all callers' questions. The third Wednesday will be special guests such as channelers and other metaphysical teachers. And the other 2 weeks are freestyle call-ins to share information and love with whoever wishes to co-create the evening with us. Although it is called the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, we always spend 1.5 or more hours with you. And on Thursday nights, of course, Philip Mollica's Consciousness Evolution Hour. You're going to get a big taste of that tonight. Of course, we cover all things related to fifth dimensional living and the shift and channelers and channelings, and we're going to have a great show tonight with Ruth Elan. Very excited about that. We'll be back to bring Ruth on here shortly. On Friday nights, the Earth Experience with Kalina Angel. Kalina Angel will be hosting her own upcoming show called The Earth Experience on Friday nights, starting on July 11th. Yay, we have a date. All right. The experience explores our soul's expansion through our human experiences on Earth. The first topic explored will be what we can do when the shift hits the fan, navigating and expanding through the exciting confusions that we are manifesting as new 5D beings. Then, very excited, a new announcement Saturday, starting on the 24th of this month, Odyssey of Ascension. Join the one and only Rand Swainhart for 2 hours of knock your socks off Ascension downloads. Be open, be ready, and just be with us while we answer your questions about Ascension, extraterrestrials, soul purpose, energy activations, and all things Ascension. Roxy is a channeler and Ascension guide extraordinaire in these extraordinary times. Living in San Antonio, Roxy received an awakening experience and promptly exploded into the metaphysical scene, posting videos, blogging, doing live group channeling, and changing the lives of all she encounters. Featuring guest speakers, which are human, and the channeled entities of Osiphus, the Hathor guides, Sasani guides, and the collective Oversoul Fire, just to name a few. Come join us for an unforgettable couple of hours on your personal path to enlightenment. So once again, these are exciting times, folks. New shows coming on. The Enlightenment Evolution Network is expanding. I'm very excited to have all the new shows joining our show here in Daniels and Rob's. Very pleased, and we can't wait to hear the new shows as they come online. So, without further ado, I want to welcome our guest tonight, Ruth Elan. Ruth, as I said, is a channeler extraordinaire and channels Jen, and I'm going to let Ruth give us a little background on herself. Are you there with us, Ruth?
Sure am. It's so nice to be here.
Oh, it's nice to have you, Ruth. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, how about a little background? Where did you start into this? What got you started in metaphysical and in channeling and this type of work?
Oh my. Okay, I found my way into the Seth material, being led there by Abraham Hicks, and I was drawn into it, seeking different books, different authors, and different ways of thinking to try and change my state of being. I was suffering from pain, and I was not happy at all where I was at. I was pretty close to on the edge of homelessness, and my husband was close to dying, and I was in an extreme amount of pain with nerve damage, and I had lived my whole life wanting to kill myself and get past this experience and move on, and I spent many years being either a Buddhist or a Jewish person or a Taoist or an atheist, or I was a student, I was a scholar, I was many, many things, and I came to Seth by way of just spontaneous circumstance, and Seth spoke to me to my very heart, and I read his words through Jane, and I burst out in tears, and I have never looked back. It's Seth's fault that I'm where I'm at today, because everything I am is because I used his exercises and his tools and his urges to go inward and onward into inner reality and find your own experience there, and I found that my gift is being an open channel.
That's wonderful, and we certainly share a common beginning of, even though I initially started off with Abraham Hicks, I was quickly led into the Seth material, and that gave me the basic framework from which everything else that's followed.
Yes.
And boy, it just chokes me up even to think about it, and then have you on here and share that that common background, because people who have come to Seth like that, and I want everyone to understand who's listening that we don't consider Seth a guru, we don't consider Seth someone we worship and follow, but the books that were channeled through Jane Roberts and the information that came through Seth gave us such a wonderful framework from which to reassess our complete belief system.
Yes.
And then to move forward in a fashion that served us in a way that nothing that we had come to prior to this had served us before. And I think that's been your experience as well.
Yes, it has. And it's not, many people find comfort and the ability to deal with their own reality and their own individualness by seeking Abraham Hicks, and I get that for them, and I want them to find whatever they need out of life, but Abraham Hicks did not do that for me at all, and I am drawn to certain principles of it, and I aspire Esther Hicks, but I've dreamed about them. I think we're all connected anyway.
Yeah, but, I do too. You bet.
Yeah, but finding Seth and finding Jane's books means in no way that I consider them the Bible in any way, or I don't consider any written word the end all, and that we should cherish it and relish it and put it on a pedestal somewhere. I believe that they are tools. They are words that are to guide you to whatever you will be in the next moment. They are not supposed to be, and I keep hearing this from the inside, from the other side, that we are not to be worshipped. We are not to be wanted and desired for our golden wisdom. It is your own self that has that wisdom. It's your own self that takes you on that path, and how you interpret the words, because the words, this is me talking now, the words are different for each person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, of course, anyone who's read Seth knows that at every turn, Seth would just continually turn you back to yourself and turn you back to yourself. And any time that he started to feel, or Seth started to, would be describing something or explaining something, he would always turn the reader or the listener back to their own knowing, back to their own power, back to their own ability to bring forth the things in their lives that they were looking for. And again, to me, it's a framework. It's basically I look at it as textbooks. You know, if you had a math textbook that laid out all the processes and algorithms and mathematical concepts for you, that's what Seth provided for us from my standpoint, and how the individual uses it is completely up to that individual.
Yes, in fact, we perceive it differently.
Absolutely, and perceive it differently depending on at what point in our lives we may read it. For instance, I read the books twice. And, by the time you read books twice, you've probably read them 10 times, because you go back and reread things over and over and over again just to try to get the basic concepts out of them sometimes. But each time I read the books, I got a distinctly, it was like reading them for the first time. I got a distinctly different message, and that's the multidimensional nature that Seth brought to the material, and certainly can be said of a lot of the material that is coming forth today from many different channelers and sources, including yourself, Ruth, is that depending on when you hear it and what you need to pick up from the words and messages, it operates on different levels.
And I don't mean to be trite, but you could read something on a milk carton and get what you need from it. It does not have to be Seth or Abraham or Archangel Michael or Jesus or any of those that we think are so desirable. It could be anything. Right.
Now, I'm very curious. So when was it that you came into contact with the Seth material? When did you start reading that and studying it?
I think it was 2011. It was the summer of 2011 that I started reading. I initially got the books from the library, and I started reading, and it's just a path that I couldn't ignore, a path that I had to go down that I could not ignore, that book after book, and I'll tell you a little secret, I have not read every single Seth book. I haven't read every single Jane book. I haven't done that, and because I follow my spontaneous focus now. I have gone inward, discovered more of myself, and discovered the magical approach to life.
Well, you're certainly bringing it forth on your own, and really that was the whole purpose of it in the first place, was to have us go inside and find that within ourselves.
Exactly.
So at what point did you discover this ability, the channeling abilities, and how did that come about?
Okay, I connected with my spirit guide, which it turns out, I did a lot of work in my, let's call it a visual field, an inner field, my inner reality. I carved out places for me to visit that provided me comfort and understanding. And I found there my spirit guide, who was introduced to me, was my grandfather. He'd been with me my whole life, but he died 9 months before I was born. So, so grandfather is my spirit guide. He introduced me to the entity that calls itself my master personality. It's like an umbrella of personality that includes all the people I know, all the family members and everything, and people that I'd have interactions with. It's not the oversoul. Anyway, more on that. But that oversoul is completely different. He or it called itself Carol, and I developed a relationship with Carol, and Carol told me that the solution, every time I asked, and I asked a lot, how do I get past the pain? How do I change my beliefs? How do I do this? How do I get out of poverty? How do I just move out of the space I am in and not be me anymore? And Carol told me to write, and that's what she kept on saying, is write, write, right. All your answers are within that. And I had no idea what she meant. So, okay. I started writing, and I started free writing, and I found that I was auto-writing, and then I was writing what she told me, and then I kept reading more about the metaphysical stuff that I really had no idea about because I was as far away from that as possible. Started writing, auto-writing, and producing this channeled material in January of 2013. By June, I was told by Carol and everybody else, Seth and Jane and everybody, that I was to start a blog and send it out for free. And then I won't tell you the channeling story yet. In December of 2012, I had a spontaneous healing over a period of 4 days, and Seth and Jane and Carol and everybody was with me on the other side, pushing me through this and getting me through this. I followed my spontaneous sort of path into a pain-free zone, and I had to go through the fire in order to get to the other side. That was the worst 4 days of my whole life. I will never forget it. But I was healed, and because of that healing, this whole channeling thing just sort of stepped up to high gear, just shot out of nowhere. I exploded with words and messages, and it was like visualizations before I was healed were like mild, mundane milquetoast, and then after I was healed, they became like on fire. They were just coming out of me, and I couldn't stop it. And anyways, I asked the question. I'll tell you the channeling story. I asked the question in November, on November the 5th, I think. I asked the question, why am I not physically channeling? Am I different? Am I always going to write? Am I always going to be auto-writing? And I said, so how do I physically channel? How do I do this? Am I going to do this? They said, all you need to do is ask the question. All you need to do is make a decision. By the 6th was my first day physically channeling, and it's been like every day since then. So there's your story. I've been guided by inner connection, spirit guides, and other entities, and it took a long time for Jen to give me a name, because they didn't want me to be limited by their name.
Of course.
So Jen is a generic sort of. It means information in the World Wide Web thing. It means information. So
Jen, is it short for general?
I think it could be. They spelled it out for me, so that I have really good inner vision. So they spelled it out for me in big, bold, 3D letters, so I wouldn't be mistaken. Yeah, and so I have a connection with entities within my inner space and my multidimensionality. I have just as much as the connection with them as I do with anybody out here in this reality. So that's me in a nutshell.
So you got, and you have a number of energies that are working through you. I mean, yes. Jen is one, and it's maybe you could explain to our listeners how. And there's a number of channels that are open channels these days that we're talking to and hearing from. But how is it that you can move from and recognize one energy to another? How is it that you move through that process or discover what it is how do you know you're talking to Jen in one moment and then someone else in another?
Okay, let me start by explaining who Jen is. Jen is a large, varied group of individual energy, entities that some of them are very closely related to our reality, and many of them are in between somewhere, and I'm dividing their inner reality by space, but you got to understand there is no space. Some of them, like a handful of the energies that are within Jen, they're considered part of the Jen gestalt, are so far back within in a reality they have never been physical. They have never even considered what it's like to be physical in any term, on any probability, in any reality, not just ours. But they just are totally removed. They don't have any connection with, or very distant connection with, creating our reality that we see. So their energy is our energy, but it's so diluted, if you want to call it that. Okay. I started with my relationship with Seth, and then with Jane, and with Carol, and recognized them as they came to me. I didn't try and create anything. I let them do it. I allowed myself to be taken into their space and into their energy. And just like I notice who one of my friends is, whether they're on the phone or in person or on the internet far away, I can sense who they are in many different situations. The Gen Gestalt is that way, Seth is that way, that you can identify them based on who they are. Jen describes it as your feeling. It's your feeling space. It's that feeling part of you that can identify, it's the feeling that identifies the other person, the other being. I get introduced to, just recently I got introduced to new parts of Jen that I didn't know before.
Ah, nice.
And I've been told that Emmanuel is part of Jen because I resonate with Emmanuel a lot.
Oh, yes.
Intensely. So I've been told that Emmanuel is part of it. But when I was introduced just last week to, this is during my, it's a visual experience, a sort of out-of-body experience. It's sort of like my, what Seth called psi time. And I was introduced to an entity called Gerard, who is part of Jen, and I was also introduced to Manuel, who is also part of Jen. Now, Seth is part of Jen. Jane hasn't said that she's part of Jen. So there's certain beings that I'm introduced to, and when I meet them, it's just like meeting any other person. I'm meeting them, and I can recognize who they are, regardless of where they are or how they come to me. I know who they are because I've met them. I've made that connection. So Gerard's the star-seeder, alien sort of information person, and Manuel, or Emmanuel, he came to me as Manuel, is the most loving, the most, it's just pure joy to talk to him. And he hardly even talks. He just looks at you. It's the most loving feeling, and that was new for me. I haven't encountered one of those entities until late. I wasn't ready for it.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't in that place yet until, everything's happening very quickly nowadays. But
oh, isn't that the truth? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the acceleration is amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's fascinating. You have to pardon the simplicity of my questions sometimes, but I like to ask for the broadest range of listeners because there are people who are very new to this and people who are really just discovering this on their own and in their own power to do this. So, and of course, I still have a lot of questions about it, and I share a desire that you suggested that you wanted so much to be able to speak. And I was telling a dear friend today that I can sit down in our group here at the Consciousness Evolution group. Someone sends a question, somebody starts a thread, and I can sit down and whoosh, the information just flows out of my fingertips. I know exactly what to say. It goes on the paper. I get done and I look at it and I go, whoa, wow, what was that? But I want so much to be able to speak it. And there is something that is unfolding in that for me.
And they're saying that I'll let you talk to Jen in a minute, but let me just say that it's because you're trying to do it one way. It's because you have set this path for you that okay. They're talking.
Okay.
So let me just let them talk.
Yes, of course.
Okay, you've set this path for yourself, and yourself is directed and focused within this one line of thinking. And this one line of thinking is not exactly what you intend for yourself, what your higher self intends for you. To be open to all experience, to live spontaneously, and to live by your intuitions, is to understand that you each have your own individuality. You each have your own method for obtaining what you wish. Not everyone wants to drive a Porsche. Not everyone wants to live in a humongous house. We like that word, humongous.
Perfect.
But when you find that you want to do something, and it really does not matter if you seek to be a physical channel or you seek to cross a street. You do not cross a street thinking, I will cross this street at this exact point and take this exact line to the other side, no matter what is happening on the street, I shall travel this path. You are at all times leaving yourself open, most usually. You are letting yourself gauge the traffic and the weather and the condition of the energy within that, whether you believe yourself to or not. The point here is that you find yourself open to experience and open to interpreting that experience. Many of you will have different experiences seeking a physical channel. The open channel that you so want is quite open for a reason. This opening gives you what you most want within your own psyche, within your own conscious mind, opens up the path and comes to you in the way that is most accepted, most comfortable for you. You will not all see images directly. You will not all see words directly. You will not all hear the words and hear the energy directly. And understand that there are many other ways that this information can come to you. And we have only described a few. Look to your dream life, look to your inner experience, look to those experiences you've had within reality, and what is it and how is it that you interpret that energy within those realms? And that will be your clue to the energy that you will most pronouncedly be able to accept. And know that when you do accept that energy will change. It'll change because you have accepted it. It will change because you have perceived it and because you have expressed it. And we are Jen, and we are very happy to be here. Very excited, in your terms, to find the connection with all of humanity in whatever shape this takes. This is a joyous time, a joyous moment. We feel your joy, and we give you our joy.
so excited to have you here with us, Jen. I can feel the energy coming through you.
And we are happy to share it with you. We can, at this time, answer any of your questions if you would like.
Okay. Let's see if we have any callers on the line. How would you like, Jen?
That would be very, very good.
Good. If you would like to call in, you have a question for Jen, the call-in number is area code 347-308-8788. If you're on the line and you have a question, I think you can press the number 1 on your keypad to raise your hand, and then we'll know that you would like to speak to Jen. So we're giving folks, there's a couple people on the line, but no one's got their hand raised, so while we're giving people an opportunity to call in and chat with you, someone does have a question. Okay, let's bring them on. This is the 816 area code. Who are we speaking with tonight?
Hi, guys. This is Philip.
Hello, Philip. How are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I could not be better.
It is so wonderful to hear from you, Philip.
Oh, thank you. You too. I just was really resonating with the energy on the call, and I just kind of spontaneously decided I needed to call in right now. I'm in the middle. In the middle.
We relish in that spontaneous call.
I did too lately. I notice every time I'm not in my head and I'm acting spontaneously is when the synchronicity just hits. And I'm really starting to get used to that. And I have a couple questions I wrote down on my hand.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Right.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. One thing that I'm kind of working with is I have all this excitement in this area, this specifically like what, you and I and everyone on the Consciousness 2.0 Facebook group, all of this stuff is very exciting for me, and it's obvious to me that it's my highest excitement. And what I'm also feeling sometimes, though, is a little bit of overwhelmment. At any given time, I'm in front of the computer, I probably have like 15 tabs open, and I'm talking to people, and I'm looking at information. And when I start to get overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to relax. That's one of my questions.
Okay, what we find that you are asking is that you are attempting to take your focus many different places, maybe not all in that one moment, but you are splitting your focus throughout many different topics. And although you believe that this is admirable, and you find yourself frustrated, it is frustration that leads to the overwhelmment. The frustration is that you are attempting to focus where your desires, your spontaneous path is not taking you. You are focusing within and trying to concentrate on many different topics. And then you're attempting to absorb as much information as possible, so that you can change the state of your being, so that you can hurry up and speed up this transformation. But this transformation takes each and every moment and each and every perception and interprets it on its own time. You must take a path and take that path spontaneously. If you are frustratingly concentrating on something that is not giving you any joy, that you are attempting to figure out and read over in order to get the message, then you are not getting the message. The message is that is not for you in this moment. you can very easily just change your focus to something that is working for you. The overwhelm in itself is the frustration of trying to get it all in, absorb all of the information so that you can change yourself faster. And to truly follow what has been termed the magical approach to the living spontaneously, you will find an article online or in a book and find that article, and when it becomes uninteresting, you move on. There is no
okay.
No one is going to nail you to the cross for changing your focus, for changing into something that is more interesting.
Is that why I'm bouncing around from thing to thing kind of so quickly, and then am I worrying about, did I absorb what I needed out of that?
I can tell you in my own experience that every time I try to make something happen, every time I try, there's something in the energy of trying that to me just short circuits myself. And it's the best experience I have, the best unfoldings that I have is just when I just simply allow myself to be led spontaneously into the next thing and then into the next thing, and just let go of my expectations about what I can be doing, what I should be doing, what I ought to be doing, and just let go of all of that and allow it to be delivered to me in the way that is the simplest and the easiest, and the way that's brought that it can most efficiently be brought about to me. And so if I just release my need to control any of it or to direct any of it and just basically react in a loving, hold myself in a loving position and a allowing position, then I find that the universe doesn't need any coaxing with me, man. It delivers, and it delivers a lot. And
you're delivering it to yourself.
Yes. I use the universe in very general terms in that sense, and you're absolutely right, and we're starting to get out of the habit of using terms that indicate that something is separated from us, because really it's all us. I said this the other day in one of the posts on CE2, that it's all us. We're doing it. We set it up from the beginning. Mm-hmm. We were responsible for it. We're bringing it about, and it was all planned that way from the very start, but it was all us.
Mm-hmm. And I've actually experienced that myself. This is Ruth now, but I've actually experienced that where I try to read a book and I try and read it and I try and read it and try and read it again, go back a couple pages and see if I can get it again or something. And I just decided, I have a lot of bookmarks. Just put a bookmark in, put it on the shelf, and I'll pick it up when I need it. And I do that with Facebook posts too. If I'm not into it after 2 sentences, then there's nothing in there for me.
Yeah.
That's exactly me too.
Yeah.
So, Philip, you've been very active lately in our group and active on the show and your calls, and we very much appreciate that. And so, now your own experiences with this, are you starting to find that the more you just kind of let go and allow, the more that is coming to you?
Yeah, stuff is coming to me, and it's actually so much faster that I'm just trying to get used to it. But I can relate to everybody that I'm talking to, and as far as like my past experiences, especially the past year, I've been through a lot of major stuff. And just like I was homeless for a year, and I was on methadone, and I just the past 6 months, I was able to get off of it. And when Ruth, when you were talking about that spontaneous healing, that's kind of what I went through. Except it lasted longer than 4 days for me. It was a lot of pain. I was in major withdrawals for 3 weeks that I didn't sleep, and I was just at my mom's apartment on the floor flopping around like a fish, and something was really just getting me through that. And then now I'm like back to my spirituality had this fog over it because of the drugs, and now I'm in this clarity and in getting all these synchronicities, and I'm just in front of the computer all the time, and I'm talking to people, and I don't know where it's leading me, and I'm trying to get used to trusting that as far as being able to support myself and have these things work out for me. So that's just kind of where I'm at.
Exactly. I can't say anything more than yes. Exactly.
Wow. I have such love and compassion for where you've been and how you've made your way through that, because so many of us have gone through those dark days, and really this is a time of awakening and discovery, and so many of us are coming to this. And it is very rewarding to see and feel the changes that are coming to us now.
Yes, it's I can feel it so much, and I know that I'm in a good place, and there's a lot of things, loose ends, that I'm really just, they're kind of starting to tie themselves up, which is cool.
Isn't that interesting how that happens?
And also, what you were talking about, and Philip, what you were talking about toward the beginning of the show about as far as information coming to you like multidimensionally, the layers of everything, that was exactly my experience. And I started with Abraham, and I had actually already had a couple books and had read them, and I don't think it must not have made any sense to me at the time. This was about maybe 8 years ago. And then there was a time where I was actually hospitalized, and I was trying to at that time, then I read an Abraham book for the second time, and everything clicked. And then I was basically with Abraham and the material for several years, but this past, and Bashar too, and I never got too much into the Seth material, but this past year is when I didn't realize there were so many people out there channeling, and I've just been absorbing all of these awesome this awesome information from so many channels. And when I go back and look at stuff now, it just makes sense to me on completely new levels, and I get that. And actually, I'm not even reading. I've not been reading many books. I don't find that I need to. I find that I really know most of the information if I need to know it, if I go within. And what I'm doing a lot of is listening to a lot of audio of people channeling, and I'm just completely absorbed in it, and I don't know where it's taking me, but it's exciting on how much I thought I was a very open-minded person, and even, 5 years ago when I was into the Abraham stuff, and now there's stuff that I'm understanding now that I never would have been able to grasp back then, and so...
Yeah, they want to tell you one more thing, Philip.
Okay.
They want to say that you will not lose any of the information that you think you are going to lose when you shut things down and you cease to read certain things. You will not lose any of the information. It will come to you in another way, another more perceptible way, or through another author or yourself.
Thank you. That's what I was actually trying to say with the idea of being overwhelmed, and that was exactly what I was looking for. So, I just love you guys. I love what you're doing, Philip, and everybody, Rob, and all of this stuff. I just really feel like I'm at home with you guys.
I love you too, Philip, and I want to thank you for calling in, and it's such a pleasure to have such wonderful people and wonderful companions as we walk each other home.
Thank you. I'm ready to let you guys take some other calls if you got some people on the line.
All right, Philip, we'll stick around, and if you have something more, maybe we'll get you back on later if you come up with some more questions later on.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Philip. Love you.
Thank you so much. Love you guys too. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling in. All right. Once again, the call-in number, we have open phone lines right now, so if you are called in, please press 1 to raise your hand. If you're not called in, we would love to hear from you. Ruth and Jen are available to take your questions and calls or comments. The dial-in number is 347-308-8788. And again, we have open phone lines right now, so we'd love to hear from you if you would like to talk to Ruth and Jen.
I'm actually, Seth is in there saying, okay, anybody want to talk to me?
We always love to hear from Seth.
Yeah.
How are you tonight, my friend?
Oh, we're doing so well.
Oh.
Yes, so very well. We appreciate the fact that you have been developing in such a tremendous degree that you don't find the need to call on our assistance as you previously did. You don't require our words to console you with every moment. And if you would see this within yourself, see this as your own development and the progressive state of your own being, and how your own integrity is breeding within yourself this new sense of self, this new individuality that you find, reaching beyond what was known and reaching into a broadened sense of yourself. And in that new sense of self, that broadened sense of your own love, your own consciousness, and who you really are, you will find that our words are not quite as important as they used to be, and that's the way we will have it, as that was intended.
That's that blending.
Yes, you call it blending, you call it many things, yes.
But this is the bringing more of ourselves to bear, more of our own energy to bear in our day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. Trusting yourself, trusting in your own being, and that your own existence has all that you need.
As you're speaking, my friend, my heart just opens up wide.
Yes, and so does ours. We spoke in a recent session about the exploding nature of consciousness, and it is that love and joy that you find in your own self when you connect with others, and not only connect with us, but to connect with others. And in many ways, you find that explosiveness in your sense of self, and that's what we are referring to, that joy.
So when we're able to put aside our preconceived notions about what this should or shouldn't be, and just allow the unfolding and allow it to come to us in whatever fashion best serves us, then we've really latched on to something.
We believe that, and many of us believe, that when you search for your meanings within your experience and express all of your emotion, that the secret of your lives, the secret of expression you'll find within those moments, that it is being a free individual, free to believe what you want, free to do what you want, free to desire, And that freedom is found within your emotions and your experience and the most humanness of what you are.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And you are
lovely.
Very welcome.
We have another call here with a question.
Who they want to talk to?
And this is the 602 area code. Who are we speaking with tonight? 602?
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can. Who are we speaking with?
It's Ann.
Ann. How are you, Ann?
Not bad.
Good.
I'm not sure who we're talking to with Ruthie, but my question for her or them is about
well, I can drop.
What you got, huh?
I can drop Seth.
Well,
okay, it's me.
I just have
Ruth.
a question. You just want to see who comes through?
Sure, go ahead, Ann.
Okay, I was just going to ask about the intense purification and darkness that has been happening, and what, just an opinion about it, what's been happening with me, the intensity and the
darkness that you feel?
Yeah. No, I have a feeling it. I'm being it.
Is it the darkness that you feel or the darkness that you experience? They're really the same thing.
Yeah, okay. I won't fight you for that one.
Okay. I'll bring up Jen.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Our dear Anne, we do believe that you know exactly how to change your beliefs, although your impatience with this has drawn you into a space of what you feel is darkness. And in that space, you find your own frustration with the inability to propel yourself into future moments that you believe will be different. But because of your expectations and those of your beliefs, your future moments will be much of the same unless you direct your sight to your own beliefs. And we want to tell you that the nature of your beliefs are found in your experience. So that darkness that you find, the negative, the experiences that you would do without if you had such a choice, those experiences should be telling you, they are telling you, that your belief system is creating this. This darkness is represented in your own ideas of who you are, your own conception of self, and your own beliefs. Now, even though you believe us to be a great energy, we cannot be all-knowing. That is not our nature. All we do is guide you toward yourself. We want you to look at the darkness that you've labeled, that experience, and attempt to step back from it away so that you can gain the symbolic value of that experience. In searching for the symbolic value, you will find the awareness that comes to you, but you must make a decision to be open for it. When you do achieve that awareness, when you do receive that awareness from your intuitions and you know what your intuitions sound like, you will find at that moment the ability to make the decision about the corresponding belief, and that decision that you make will change that belief forever. It will change incrementally. It does not completely dissolve in one fell swoop. The belief will change incrementally. But that one awareness, that one attempt to find the symbolic meaning within your experience will change that belief in such a way that it will propel itself to more and more change. You cannot deny this change. It happens whether you consciously know of it or not. Your belief will change. So we send you towards your experience even though you back away from it. We send you towards your experience. We would like you to find the meaning in that, and you have every ability to do that. You were born with that. Your very nature has the ability to find the meaning in your experience. This is a natural process, and if you find a block to this, the block is within your own self. The block should tell you again what you believe of yourself. We can tell you that you are a creative and powerful human, that you are connected to a multidimensional being that is far greater and expansive than you have ever imagined. That you have the power of inner reality. You have the power of inner reality speaking to you within your physical reality, and we can tell you that that connection is all love, that connection, the energy that comes through you is all love. But unless you know this yourself, you will be quite hard to impress.
That's very well said. Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just blew me away. I felt the energy in that. Holy cow.
Okay. Okay.
And you convinced me. Convinced me.
Did that help you, Ann?
I'm glad you got what you needed, Phil. No, and I did get what I needed, Ruthie, and thank you, Jen. It's coinciding with something that's actually been happening in the last hour or so, while coming through what this darkness is. It's just beliefs. They're pretty dark, but that's okay. It's what she said is right. It was very helpful. Good confirmation. Good confirmation.
So nice to be able to get reinforcement when we need it from each other, isn't it, Ann?
I think that's the most wonderful thing about the group is that it's always there, and it's always up and running. And now, I really think that the most amazing thing is now having the other side with us at the same time we're doing it. This is really something. This is really, really creating a very, very cohesive group of deeply individual perspectives that really, really need to be deeply individual and connected. It's just the most amazing thing.
Yes, and I think that people come into the group and they at first believe that it's just a big old therapy session. And then they really find out.
Well, you can call it therapy if you want to, but it's a whole nother therapy of a different color, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's on another level, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's on so many other levels. It's just such an ongoing blessing. It was just so good to hear Jen. The first words out of Jen's mouth is impatient. You know, like, oh yeah, I remember me. Oh, I'm in a big hurry. I don't know where I'm going in this big hurry. But that's
boy, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, but I'm doing this for 30 years. I first read Seth 30 years ago. I haven't read a lot of Seth very recently. I think that it really is so very much about us becoming our our own authorities. I think several of us have said it's been hard to read anymore because it's more about what's coming through us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what we're creating in the moment every day now.
Yeah. I get blown away, we walk into the group sometimes and I can't always be there, but when I am and it's funny how somebody will post something and it'll seem fairly innocuous, and then all of a sudden that thread will take off, and and everybody has a perspective of it, and the growth that takes place. It's like we all decide to come together at particular times and grow.
We did. Yeah. We absolutely did come all together to find each other in this. It's totally, you could call it preordained, or you could call it fate, or you could call it destiny, or you could just call it love finding love, joy finding joy. We all intended this. This is totally.
Yeah.
I sound like a Californian.
No, that's great. It sounds great. It's so nice. It's so wonderful to hear your voice and talk to you, Ruthie. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Oh, yes, it's very nice to hear your voice, too. I'm so glad that Jen could talk to you and help you a little bit.
Oh, no, it was really spot on. It's the reminders are just so important, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. Yeah. It's not necessarily darkness. It's just not pleasant beliefs about myself, and they have to go. So if I have a bad day or 3 or 4 or months, tough.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also when we look to see, this is me talking, when I look to see in my experience what thing is, I can't always find it right away. I can't always. I was directed to find the symbolic nature of the place I live and what it meant to me, and I had such a huge block. And I think I solved the problems, because things are a lot better today than they were just a few days ago. So, I don't always exactly know exactly what happens. I just sort of go along spontaneously, which appears to other people to be sort of obliviously.
Yeah.
Sometimes oblivious works, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. If you can distract yourself long enough, the answers seem to find you.
Yeah.
I used to be hard on myself about when I would distract myself from what I thought I should be doing. But what I find more and more is that usually I'm distracting myself for a pretty damn good reason, and that's to allow things to fall into place. Mm-hmm. Answers to find me.
Yeah.
And I am starting to trust more. I'm starting to trust everything, because I'm starting to take, I've said it for a long time, I take responsibility for everything that happens to me. I take responsibility for what I do. I take responsibility for the way my life is unfolding. But I'm even finding that to a much greater degree these days, that that I can just allow myself to step back and just allow things to unfold. And I think a lot of that is this new energy. This new energy is really, really intense. I mean, it's freaking crazy, wild, intense. And things are coming so fast and so synchronistically falling together that the more that I just take my hands off the driver's wheel and get on the passenger side, the better things go.
And that means allowing the negative experience, allowing those things that you think are so traumatic and so horrible that you wouldn't in your right mind create that for yourself.
Yeah, that's kind of the conversations we've been having inside of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
yeah.
have to allow those things in order to move on, in order to find that power within your existence. You have to accept those things.
I agree. It has a life of its own. Fortunately for me, it's been so perfectly arranged for me that it's like you will sit there and you will not move until you get this. My whole life is so arranged, and it's like when you were talking, Phil, I was thinking too. We talk so much about trust, but what we're learning, I think, is to trust ourselves.
Yeah.
And we never ever imagined we would be trusting ourselves.
Oh my God, no.
It was necessary to trust. Didn't even know it existed.
The trusting yourself is about expressing your emotion. That there is nothing that's going to bring you trust like expressing every single emotion that we have and expressing it fully and fluidly and letting it out of you. In other words, they say it more eloquently than I do, but
you're doing fine.
Thank you. But it's every negative, every piece of anger, everything that comes up. It doesn't all turn like rosy. It's what it is. We're who we are, and this mouse that I have in my hand is really a great mouse because I threw it against the wall the other day because I was angry. Okay, but let me tell you that it's a lot easier on the mouse than it is on my own body. I will not turn it against myself and turn it to my own body ever again. I don't care.
I hear you. There's just no point in making ourselves sick and our bodies paying the price for it or hurting ourselves emotionally, physically, spiritually. It's just there's no point. It won't work. That's what's getting through to my ego is slowly getting through this. No matter how much shit you pull, this will not work. You are not going to get what you want out of this anymore. What you want is right there, and you're going about it backwards in the most unbelievably painful ways, and it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. You're not going to beat yourself to submission. It's not going to change. You are going to have to do this gently, lovingly, kindly, openly, willingly. You're going to have to open. You're going to have to let go of these beliefs that you have to beat yourself into being what it is you want to be. It's not going to happen. That's why it's so dark for me. That's why it's so dark for some other people that I know. The more traumatic it's been, the wilder the ride gets. But it's not, the thing is my ego is, or whoever it is, that younger, out of control part of ourselves is so desperate to get better. And to be happy and to be joyful and going about it completely backwards. It's getting some of it. It's like, okay, all day long, many days, many weeks, many months. Some days really all day long, some days not. But it's still been these, just exactly what Jen said. These are beliefs and there's nothing else to them. And this part of myself is not fast to learn and very impatient to get it over with. So there it is, There's why it hurts so much.
Yep.
But I'm worth it.
You are, Ann. And fully expressing, I loved what Jen said about fully expressing everything, fully accepting ourselves in our expressions and trusting in that. That was so powerful. I just felt that go through me. That was a great way of putting it. I loved hearing it that way.
Yeah, feeling all this stuff is absolutely incredible. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that the path to enlightenment, at least never, at whatever level, whatever you call it, would have been just feel everything and look at what these beliefs put you through and look at what they make you feel. And, oh, my God, I never in my wildest dreams thought it would be like this. Never. It is astounding to me that I have survived what I felt. There's plenty of times I thought it was either going to kill me or I was going to crack. And it just sit there with it and feel it and watch it run its mouth and go, oh, my God. No wonder, we have to have multiple lives for what's coming out of me. This couldn't possibly have come out of one life. There's so much of it. And it's not, I don't even know how to put it. The experience is very, very difficult and very challenging and very much worth it. It's actually happening. It's working. I'm just amazed because what I chose to bring into this life, whoa, there was a lot of it. There was a lot of stuff to clear out of a lot of lives. It wasn't just one. It was a whole bunch of lives and a whole bunch of... But
joyful experiences affect you in the same way. Joyful experiences, they do the same. They do the same way, but we don't concentrate on them.
You're right.
We tend to forget those quicker, right? We forget the good ones and focus on the tougher ones.
That's true. That's absolutely true. I'm hard pressed. Nice to have that laugh just come out of me. That was pretty spontaneous.
That sounded wonderful. That was exactly what I was thinking, Ann. I loved hearing that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're all here for, isn't it? We're here to walk each other home.
I'm just so happy. I'm so happy to have you guys. I'm going to go. Thank you. Thank you both. It was wonderful talking to you. Love you. Love everybody.
Love you too.
I mean, all of you out there too. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye, sweetie.
Bye, Ann. So nice to talk to you.
Okay. Would you like to take another call? Or did you have something? Go ahead, please.
Let me talk about the construct of forgiveness.
Yes, please.
When Ann was talking, they reminded me of that, and I'll try and do it. They may chime in, but I'll try and do it. It's okay. Jen's writing a book. I'm downloading it, rendering it, and it's on constructs. And the way they describe it is that constructs are like the chains that you wrap around your beliefs that you're given when you're a child. And these constructs, these ideas, are dualistic, and they bind your beliefs so that when we as enlightened individuals try to find our beliefs and we dig around searching for them and we refuse to believe that they're found in our experience, we can't manage to identify all of them because they're bound in the constructs. Because the dualistic nature of constructs is that we can't have one without the other, that we can't have good without bad. That's a very simple one. That's one that's been talked about for eons. But Jen talks about this one construct, and their point of the book is to walk you through your constructs, the majority of them, 13 of them to be exactly. But they'll walk you through it, and by the end of it, you should be free of a few of them. And the freedom you'll find in that is you'll have an easier time changing your beliefs. Your belief system will change, and you'll find more of yourself, and you'll release the limits that you've put on yourself in discovering more of your multidimensional self. Because there are many limits that we find within inner reality that we don't even know that we've set for ourselves. One of the constructs that Jen is talking about is the construct of forgiveness. Very simply, we believe, because we've been taught, that we need to forgive others in order to be better people. But the problem with forgiveness is that it doesn't actually heal. We use forgiveness like a tool in order to placate situations. But the other side of forgiveness is guilt. And their premise, and they do it a lot more eloquently than I am, but their premise is that we expect the guilt in the forgiveness, that our forgiveness provides for the expectation of guilt. If you think you need to forgive people, you are automatically expecting guilt, and you use the image they gave me was we use forgiveness like a tool, like a hammer, like a paddle, and we attack the guilt, but one is creating the other, and the other is creating the other one. It's a
symbiotic relationship.
Yes, exactly, and that's what dualism is.
Yes. And that's an excellent idea. And I don't know who I was talking to or what we were talking about the other day, but I was thinking to myself that about forgiveness, and I was thinking that I don't feel like I have to forgive anybody for anything because I don't ever feel wronged by anybody, and it doesn't really matter what they did or didn't do because I'm creating my experience and they're creating theirs, and we're just playing these roles.
Because you have let go the idea of guilt. And if you let go of guilt or you let go of the idea of forgiveness, you're letting go of that construct. And that construct frees you. And I understand the same perception that everybody's playing their part in the big game, and that no one is at fault. Even the people who scream and yell about this or that, even the people who attack you and call you names, they're playing a part. So, and there is no guilt. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
So, but what I was surprised at is that I didn't even understand that these dualistic constructs were actually there, that they're actually,
would you call them root assumptions of our physical reality, as Seth might call some things? Like a root assumption, we accept that there are these basic constructs that we have accepted that are part of our world, part of our physical reality. But yet, we're just now finding that perhaps we have a choice of which of those we honor and which we can release ourselves from.
Yes, and Bashar would call it those beliefs that we stole.
Yes.
Early on. And we reaffirm these constructs with every time you forgive someone. You reaffirm the expectation of guilt. So it's a really big, abstract concept, and many people
far-reaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And many people won't initially understand, but if you stay with it and think about it a little bit, and let your inner mind play with it, then you'll find more about it than we don't even know.
Yeah. And certainly that's been the case with so many of these things, and that's why I love to hear information coming forth from people like you, Ruth, is because once that information's out there, then it's available for anyone when they're ready for it. And certainly it will find its mark, and it will find the person who is facing down that question or will find that information. So I love to hear these newer ideas and concepts coming forth, and we're certainly being led perfectly into all of these new perspectives that we're being led to. There's no accident in what we're coming across at any given time, and we certainly see it synchronistically. It's like somebody sprinkled it in the atmosphere, and all of a sudden everybody's just tapping right into it, because now all of a sudden this is the next step, and then this is the next step, and then this is the next step. So all so very purposeful in that respect.
And magical.
And magical, absolutely. And I love the magic. I remember somebody giving me a tough time for calling it magic once, and I thought, it is magical. And a belief in magic is truly a belief in the amazing ability of the universe or of ourselves, as you so aptly pointed out to me, to bring joy to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have something to add on that subject, or would you like to take another phone call? We have someone that's been on here for a while.
Let's take phone call.
Okay. All right. This is the 612 area code. Who are we speaking with tonight?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello. It's Sandy from our CE 2.0
Sandy.
group.
Oh, how wonderful to hear your voice.
I love you guys. I was a little nervous. It was good for me to sit and wait my turn to talk with you because I was just bouncing around.
And sit. I'm so glad that you hung on for us.
Oh, I
you want me to out
so much
you,
good
Sandy?
stuff. Say that again?
You want me to out you? You want me to out you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sandy has just started channeling.
Oh.
Yay, congratulations.
And she has taken the path of expressing her emotions and finding her experience meaningful, and she's listening to her intuitions, and she's doing all of this stuff we're talking about, and she found her gift, and it's really amazing. Sandy is just love. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it feels like more me, but in kind of a self therapy, but I don't want to analyze it or start talking like there's some not enoughness in it. It's pretty amazing, and it's really good for me. I was thinking that, God, there was just so much good stuff when Ann was talking and Philip.
Wasn't
earlier.
that good? Oh my gosh!
I'm just, my head's spinning. So I don't have any burning questions, but I did want to just wanted to jump up and down
share
energetically.
The love. Yay! Share the love.
Yeah. And
they want to tell you.
Okay.
They want to tell you that. They want to tell you. Let me let them tell you.
Okay.
Okay. There is nothing more that you need to know other than you are powerful and divine in your own right. That no one can take that away from you. That no one can con you out of it. No one can tell you what to believe that you do not know in the first place, that those beliefs are false about your own self. No one can take the love from you that you have. It's inherent in your own self. No one can contrive any sort of path or experience in order to deplete you in any way from who you are. You are that. And we love you.
Thank you. Oh.
You're very welcome. Oh, I felt the energy in that.
Oh, such good love stuff. I was thinking I would ask Jen about addiction and stuff, but I posted on our group on Facebook, and so many.
You received many answers through that, did you not?
I did, and reaffirming what I want to do going forward. Yeah, it was very satisfying, so helpful.
I haven't even gotten through the rest of that thread, but I saw all the posts that came through on it last night, and late yesterday and last night, and I'm very excited to go back and see the rest of the perspectives on that. This is one of those threads that I'm talking about where somebody like you posted that, Sandy, and then we get such a wonderful array of perspectives and ideas around the subject, and the growth that comes out of these threads is incredible. I absolutely love that group. I love the CE2 group. By the way, for those of you who don't know what we're yakking about here incessantly, this is the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group on Facebook. Come over and find us, and join us there. We are, I don't know what to call it that we're doing there, but man, we're doing something great. It is really amazing, and we have people like Ruth and Sandy and the other callers, Ann, that you heard earlier, and Philip, and we're going to have some more callers here shortly that from that group, and there's some amazing work going on there, and I am just so proud and pleased to be a part of it.
The energy that you all give to this area, your focus within this time and space, your continuum, that you meet upon these points of light, you meet within these positions within your matrix. These meetings are actually, if you can be drawn back out of the illusionary reality that you find yourself, these connections are found within a matrix of consciousness that has no time or space. These connections that you make with other lights of consciousness that you draw to you, these interactions that could be invisible for all you know, do appear symbolically within your physical experience. When you interact together, you are interacting in a symbolic manner. The symbolic nature of your experience, even within the virtual realm, expresses the meaning found within that connection, within consciousness. We tell you to search within your experience for the symbolic messages. We tell you to search within your dream reality, your dream life, to find the symbolic messages. We tell you to look within your past experiences over great spans of time and space to find those messages that you are giving to yourself because of the memories that you hold. And we are telling you now that those interactions you have with others within your virtual realm, that those are symbolic. And they describe the connections you have within consciousness. Consciousness is energy that attracts other energy, and you are attracting, if you can imagine, one of those toys that lights up, and as you spin it, it keeps lighting and lighting and lighting as it rolls around. You are lighting up with each connection that you make and each interaction that you have. We want you to think about this, consider this, roll this around in your conscious mind, and play with it within your inner realm. Use it in your dream life, and understand that every bit of reality that you perceive is symbolic.
Wow.
And we shall go because Ruth's throat is tiring.
That was powerful.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome. I'm saying you're welcome for that.
That was really, really good. Wow. And you know, it occurred to me as you were saying that, as Jen was saying that it's almost exactly the opposite of how we've always been led to believe it's so. And it's like what we talk about as physical reality is the illusion. And of course, we've heard this before, but the way Jen put it, it just drove it home so completely that the physical reality is the illusion, is the symbolic part of it. The reality of it is the crystalline structure, and how we as energy points of light or energy within that grid, the crystalline grid, find and attract each other and bring each other, and what we are experiencing in our physical reality is actually simply a symbolic reflection of that crystalline grid activity.
Mhm.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Did you just channel that?
The other night.
My frickin' mind.
Yeah, they showed me a man walking up to one of those games in a carnival, and the other person on the inside, administering the game, and the guy picks up the little gun where he shoots the little balloon or something, and then they just gave me this knowledge that this whole interaction between these two people, the whole thing between the two people is symbolic, and that from that little thing I'm supposed to extrapolate to everything else, right? Good luck. But yes, it is mind-blowing.
Yes, it is.
I got this image of a large magnet, and the symbol is love, and like our group, where all the nails or the pieces of metal just zapping to it, and it's getting, and more are being drawn to this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, you know how amazing it is that Sandy is getting an image of a magnet. That makes me so happy.
Oh. Woohoo. Well, Philip, do you have other callers? Should I?
There is someone else on the line here that is calling in. If you'd like to stick around, if you would like to talk some more, Sandy, hang around and we'll see how long we've got. About that would probably be our last call. We've got about 20 minutes left here, a little more than that. But if you have something else for Ruth before we let you go, you're welcome.
No, just a big squishy hug and kiss on the cheek and.
Oh, you too. I love you, sweetheart.
We'll talk soon.
Love you too, Sandy. Thank you so much for calling in.
Love. Night.
Love. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
We do have someone that's been on hold for quite some time now. Would you like to take another call?
Yes, let's take another call.
Okay. This is the 503 area code. Who are we speaking with tonight?
This is Allison.
Hey.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hi. Can you tell my throat's getting hoarse?
I can. First I wanted to say how great it was to hear Sandy's voice. I've never heard her voice, and she just sounds delightful. And it's so good to hear from Phil and Ann tonight, Philip. And I wanted to just say how fantastic this show is, Ruthie. And way back 10, 15, 20 minutes ago, you guys were talking about guilt and forgiveness, and that's when I had a thought and popped in here, but so much has transpired since then. It's almost like, why bother to go back there? But
yes, okay, yeah. I do not deny that is synchronicity. That is totally, we're all in the same, we're all on the same side of the world, but it's more symbolic than that, if that can. We're all lined up as if we're all in the same constellation. And we are all actually in the same bit of consciousness within inner reality. So, that's the image I'm getting.
Yes. And when Phil was talking about the crystalline grid, it just instantly came to me how connected we all are and how it just stretches out into infinity, that there is no end to the energy that gets sent out, and this is how the universe keeps expanding, is through, I guess, through us. But to get back to the guilt and forgiveness thing and the Jen's take on it, I have an addendum to that just based on personal experience. I went through the you've got to forgive because you're the only one who's suffering when you carry around anger. And I totally see that and agree with it completely. So I did my forgiveness for some stuff that happened when I was young, and that felt all well and good. But as I came into knowing about co-creating and my own role in my own life and decisions made and experiences that we set up to experience before we even come into this life in order to give us what we need to learn and to grow, you realize pretty quickly that victimhood is a construct of our socialization, and it doesn't serve us, and it gives away your power. And so once you realize there are no victims, you're not a victim of anybody. You're a partner in the experience, a fully empowered partner. And you take back your power in that instance. You don't give it away. You don't have anybody to forgive. And in fact, you have somebody on the other side of that experience, however awful it might have been, to high five and say, thank you, we got the job done, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this is all about, you're right, it all lies within us, and the fact that we have shamed ourselves for so long, turning our emotions inward and turning our disgust with ourselves and our guilt, we've turned that all inward and shamed ourselves with that. And I do think that considering that these constructs aren't really the most useful way of living this physical life, I think that is a way of dissolving the shame, refusing to do that to yourself any longer.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I know. We'd sit here and do yes for 20 minutes. I could do yes for 20 minutes. I'm totally in that space to do yes for 20 minutes.
And so much of this has to sink in. You know, it's not like the old conversation days where you talk to someone and yes, then back and forth. You know, somebody says something and you got to go, holy shit, okay, wait a minute, give me about 2 minutes here and I'll get back with you.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right, because we're advancing so fast, and the recognitions and the realizations are coming in so quickly, and really they reach so deep that our conscious mind takes them in, and then it takes our system linear time to digest all this stuff and understand it and categorize it, and then move to the next step, which on a non-physical level it happens in the blink of an eye or less, but we're still physical beings. And so I think what we're being asked to do is bring along our physicality in all of this new understanding, and that does take some focus of attention and
it takes some physical time. You know, the multidimensional nature of the information that's coming through. You know, you used to think of data or information as a flat grid or as a two-dimensional,
a linear path.
Yes, a linear path, and anymore, you know, what we've discovered, of course, that this information that we're gathering is as the multidimensional information that it is, and tying that into master events, which again is one of my favorite subjects because it is so critical to the nature of what we experience as our physical reality. That those two factors, you know, this simple show tonight that we just held, the implications of it are going to take weeks, months, maybe even years to unfold, and this is the nature of but that's in our linear time perspective of it, that information will unravel and unfold over time. So we walk away tonight. Go ahead. You had something that you wanted to add.
Well, your perception of linear time is what's taking it so long. That your perception that in a linear path of reality, that you want, let's say, the car, the house, the lover, you want that stuff. And what you come to understand when you let go of this idea of time and space, and you let go of all these constructs that we think we have to have in order to view reality, that those things come, but only when you let go of how you think of them, only when you find a way to broaden your perceptions. We think that broadening your perceptions is one little finite way that I posted online a few days ago. We think that when we broaden our perceptions that we're going to see a ghost. We're going to see the aliens that are standing there in front of you. You're going to see all this. That's broadening your perceptions. But no. Broadening your perceptions is actually paying attention to the synchronicities and identifying them, gaining awareness and meaning from your experience. Broaden your perceptions means you are not limited by what is in your past or what is in your future. You're not limited by those moments. You're not limited by the memories. You're not limited by your previously held notions of what that was to you and how it described you. So I can tell you absolutely, in fact, in absolute knowledge, that I have broadened my perceptions. I've connected to my multidimensional self. I have opened the channel. I will never be again what I used to be, ever. This is me from now on, going forward. This is, if you can say forward. Anyway, I don't believe in linear time any longer. I think time is adaptable and movable. Past experience is changeable as future experience. I can tell you that all of that stuff that I've done and finding out who I really am and actually loving myself more and getting rid of the beliefs that don't work anymore and discovering more and more about myself, those things that I wanted are happening right here in my life right now. Absolutely right now.
You rock. Yeah.
No shit, you rock.
Yeah. I mean, I still live in the dive, but I still live in a dive. I don't live in the big house. My car isn't working, but I can tell you that everything has changed.
Woohoo!
And it matters not, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't. No. There are things in they always say there are things in life that matter more than what you think, matter more than the car and the house and the job and all that. What matters is yourself, and then to express that and see it in your surroundings. Really, I don't know how else to say that.
I think you said it pretty well.
That's where it's at.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to listen to what you just said several times over because it was brilliant.
Yeah, I'd like to listen to it too.
Yeah. It was. It was. Wow.
Yeah.
Anything else, Allison?
No. Rock on, man. This has been a fabulous show. Thank you so much, and I'll get off the line. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Love you both. Love to everybody.
Love to you, Al.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Yeah, this is loud.
One point I did want to make on the thing, and let me see if I get it before I lose it.
Okay. I'm not good at remembering lately.
Because of the nature of the new fifth dimensional energy that we're grounding, you've been talking about constructs tonight,
mm-hmm.
and our callers have been talking about letting go of the necessity to hang on to the 3D reality aspects of the rules that we've held on to, that say that this is what physical reality is and this is how things have to go, and convincing ourselves that in order to get somewhere that we have to follow A to B to C to D. And I think the message tonight is that to the extent that we can let go of those beliefs, that those restrictions are out the door.
They literally change everything. If you can let go of the conventional way that you think about the reality that you find yourself in your own body, then that will change everything. It'll change reality. It'll change the world. It will change nature. It will change any kind of societal control that you perceive. It changes literally everything. It's not your eyes that are perceiving. It's your soul that's perceiving. They don't really like to use the word soul very much, but it is your soul. It's you don't know that when you walk into this arena. You don't know that when you see beyond the realm of your own reality. You don't know that when you step beyond that this is what will happen. But it is the most joy I've ever had. Seriously.
By all means.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's amazing to be alive.
Oh my God, isn't it?
Yes, and I have so much to do that I never thought I had this much to do before. Yeah, I mean, my world was really short, really shallow, very right in front of my face, and it was pretty miserable. This is the antithesis of misery.
Yeah, I agree. And on that note, I think this is a perfect opportunity to pull a wrap on our show. Ruth, was a tremendous honor and pleasure to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you what it's meant for me and what it means to me and the relationship with other people. And Jen, inside of me, I know that they are completely satisfied. Seth is laughing. And it's just, it's been a really good night.
Most enjoyable. And with that, I'm going to thank you again for coming on our show. I've got a few announcements left to make before we wrap up for the night, and I just want to take an opportunity, though, before I make those announcements, to say, folks, if you're listening to this tonight, there ain't nothing like this happening anywhere where you can get this kind of information. This is the growth of us. This is the next steps for us, and I am so pleased to have had all of the participation, all of the callers, all of the listeners. Love having the folks in the Consciousness Evolution group, and of course the other groups on Facebook as well, the Enlightenment Evolution Network group, and all of the contributors. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say, but I'm just so excited to be a part of this, and I'm so pleased that I'm able to do this each week and bring on such wonderful people as Ruth and the other guests that we've had in the past. And again, thank you, Ruth, and I hope you have a wonderful night. And stick around, and we'll say goodbye after I finish the announcements.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just a few, our upcoming shows. We got about 5 minutes left. So let me just find my notes here. Okay, next week. Oh, yeah, May 22nd. Join me and the King, Rob Gauthier, from the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, founder of this Enlightenment Evolution Network, will be joining me on the show to channel Treb. And when Rob and I get together, the energy is always over the top. Definitely plan to be around for that. I'm so looking forward to talking to Treb again. It's been a bit, and I've got some new questions for him. So tune in next Thursday night. Rob Goth here will be on the show. May 29th, join me and my special guest, Amy Bacon, a local psychic and energy reader from Michigan, my home state. Amy and I met shortly after my own awakening in 2009. I've had the pleasure of working with her in Michigan as well. She is an amazing energy reader, helps people daily in their work with sound and loving advice and foresight, definitely not like any reader you have ever met. Amy and I have a very special connection. She has been an important part of my own self-discovery, and we always have fun and interesting conversations around metaphysical concepts and ideas. You will get to experience that as well as calling in for an energy reading. How about that? Okay, June 5th. Pleased to announce my very special guest and new host of the Odyssey of Ascension radio show on the Enlightenment Evolution Network, Roxanne Swainhart, extraordinary channel and guide. You got introduced to Roxanne earlier in our earlier announcements, Osifius and many others. And as I mentioned to you before, she rolls through it like a hot knife through butter, all with the most pleasant, loving energy. Proprietor of the Odyssey of Ascension website, YouTube pages. Watch the YouTubes. If you're ready for it, they're going to knock your socks off. Roxanne is the apparently just started channeling last year, but she sounds like she's done it her whole life. I'm very, very excited to have Roxanne on my own show here, and that is going to be on June 5th. And then finally, on June 12th, from The Hague, Netherlands, the multi-talented and amazing Karen Newman, background of incredible diversity and accomplishment, including psychic reader. I'll have more details on Karen's appearance on our show on June 12th soon, but plan on being here for that. And we're getting right to the end of the show here, so I'm just going to take this opportunity once again to thank my guest Ruth Elan for joining me, and I want to thank the callers and listeners. You are you're just making this great for everybody who's involved in this. So appreciate everyone's perspectives and involvement, and I love you all very much.
Can I just say that I love you all, and I wouldn't be where I am right now without all of your support. Literally, I rely on your support. You give it freely, and I love you for it.
And my love to you, Ruth.
Thank you.
And with that, I want you all to have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone on Facebook, for your wonderful supporting posts and information. I know you guys have been having a ball out there. Thanks again to all the callers. Join us on Facebook on the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group, and a fond good evening to you all. Good night.